So here's Dorado the next day. And you can see I'm working on getting him to stick his head into the halter. He's thinking about it. I'm just waiting for when I can pull the halter up and him drop his head. And so he actually retained a fair bit from the day before. But now I've decided that I'm going to try to do it a different way. And he's kind of like, whoa, this is different. But I'm just going to wait and let him think about it for a second. And then I'm going to wait to see if I can get his head to drop just a little or get him comfortable with the halter there. And he drops his head, and so then he gets rewarded. So now he's starting to understand, and this puts me in a better position to put the halter up. So that technique worked a lot better than the other way I was doing. Sometimes it's trial and error, and I try to do just what works. So this is the morning session right after I was able to put his halter on. He seemed to be in a really nice place mentally. So I'm just working on rubbing him while I've got him kind of at liberty. And then this is a big deal for him to feel comfortable with me in it, and he's starting to follow instead of, it was more of a dominance thing in the beginning, but now we're starting to work together, so this is pretty fun. And I'm just working on rubbing him, touching him, and I'm moving further down the barrel, and again, I'm closer into his bubble. And I'm getting him to try to follow me now. We're changing directions. And he's doing pretty good at following. I get a nice lick and chew. Give him a good rub. And now I go back to working on rubbing him, changing directions again. And he's giving me a good crossover. He's yielding his shoulders really well. So all that work is working pretty good. And now I'm working on cleaning his stall. So this is the first time I've been in there with the pitchfork, so I have to introduce that to him. Now I'm going to go in and start moving the rake around and then rewarding him for when he stands still. Now I do have his door open for if he was to get too worried about it, and if he wants to leave, he can. So here I'm asking him to move sideways with the pitchfork, but I've asked him to do this previously, so I've asked him to move over, and I'm able to get it. Now he gets worried, and he thinks about it, but I want to reward him with a cookie, because that helps him in his mental state. Then I go back to cleaning the stall. And now I'm asking him to move, so you see I'm pretty direct, and then I can give him a reward. And so here you see I'm bending down. Now all that work where I was kind of jumping up and down and doing weird stuff, it's kind of paying off because now I'm able to do it, and he's staying calm. He's not being super reactive like he was in the very beginning. And then I give him a reward. I try to always reward right in his space. I never want him to kind of reach for the cookie. I want him to come to touch me and come close, but I'm going to reward in his space and not in mine. So then the thought is that you don't have one kind of molesting you for a cookie. And then sometimes I also like to not always give the cookie, and I give a voice praise. Now I'm doing an afternoon session with him, and I am, again, working on introducing him to picking up his feet. So I'm going to start to do it first by asking with the rope. So first I have to introduce him to the rope and let that touch his leg, and let him get comfortable with me standing in his space, and then I reward. Then I go back and I touch all the way close to the fetlock. I'm just trying to get him comfortable with this new object that I'm doing. And give him the reward. Now I'm going to work on kind of flipping that rope around a little bit, getting it to touch kind of inside and outside. He's never been super reactive or striky about his front legs. I am standing to the side, so I'm trying not to be in the way if he does react. And he just backed up a little bit there, so I'm going to go back. I'm trying to make sure I stay out of the space for if he is to kind of scoot forward and buck and or spin and turn and give me a kick. So, but he didn't. I was able to get the rope around. I have it just in a long loop because all I'm trying to do now is teach him for when pressure is put on his leg to pick up his leg. So I'm going to pull on the rope and I'm going to hold it until he lifts and then I release. Now I got worried. That's okay. I just go and reassure him. I'm going to try to get him to step forward so I can keep the loop on the foot because as you can see he's kind of stepping on it. And then I got it. That made him worried because he thought I meant back or move, but that's okay. Mistakes happen. You just have to kind of go with it sometimes. So now I'm going to ask again. That was better. Put more pressure. There. Now he's starting to willingly walk forward. And sometimes if I have to help him by pulling on the halter a little bit while I put pressure on that leg to bridge the gap for him, then I will. And now I'm working the right side. Strangely enough, even though he's more guarded about traveling on the right side, he's actually better about me touching the right leg versus the left. So now again, I'm introducing the rope. I have to do it the same on both sides. And then I was able to get it. And it's funny because when you're doing this, sometimes I get used to just seeing you with one hand, and the subtle change of two hands can make a horse pretty nervous. So he was pretty good to handle that. Now I'm going to put the pressure on the rope. And he lifted his foot up, so that was good. I ask again. Now he's stepping backwards, and so I want him to step forward, and that's where I'm trying to help him bridge the gap right there. There we go. And then he gets a praise reward. Asking again. That time he held it for me, which was really nice. And give him a good long praise here. Now I'm going to go in and actually ask with my hand. Now, interestingly, he doesn't really have a lot of feathers for a Mustang. Sometimes I like to use grabbing the feathers a little bit to help initiate the pickup and give you a little bit of a handle, but he really doesn't have that, so I have to grab the leg. And he's starting to figure it out. So he's still a little bit nervous about why I'm picking up his foot, but he's figuring it out. Then I move to the left side. And this leg, he goes kind of pogo stick leg. He just is, it's a little bit harder for me to get him to pick up this leg, but that's okay. I always have one or the other. And then I try to go and change it up a little bit, get him to walk around, move his feet some. I'm going to change directions. We're going to move the hind end. I'm going to move that front end. Just working on that body control a little bit. Moving the shoulders. He's giving me good crossover. Much better. Now I'm going to go back and ask to pick up. And he did a good job. So it's kind of, you go around, you do your things, and you go back to asking for picking up the feet to where it just becomes like it's not a big deal. And there he was able to let me touch his hind legs for the first time, so that was really good.
So good. Good boy.
And I'm going to go back, starting up high. He gets a little worried. Again, his energy is very sensitive, so you can feel when he's relaxed, but in that split second, he can change and get nervous.
So smart.
So here he's really enjoying a ear rub.
Right there.
He really likes it every now and then, but only when he likes it. It's kind of funny. Working on
Good boy.
just in a nice place mentally here. So I'm able to work on building that relationship and working on picking up the legs. And right now I'm just focusing on picking up the front legs, and I'm just touching the back legs. I'll address the back legs the following day.
Very, very good. Very, very, very good.
And I'm asking him to cross over again
You're all right.
to position him to help me again readdress picking up the foot. And again, this is his front left, so it takes a little bit more. And he likes to keep it a little straight, but my goal is to get it to where when I pick up the foot, he'll let me just hold it for a second. So now I go to pick up the left, which is easy, or the right, I'm sorry, and he let me hold it. So that was really good. Now I'm back on the left side. And it always takes me a little bit of effort to get this one. But as you can see, he doesn't seem too worried about me pushing on his leg. Oh, Dorado. It just makes me laugh when they do that. And he let me hold it that time, so that was super good.